Hello everyone, Jake here. Welcome to another Sorare video, and today is very exciting. We're actually starting a whole new series here, something that we're going to try and keep up with every single month, and it's kind of just going to be a review of the purchases I've made, how my teams have done, how my investments have paid off, if they've made money, if we've lost money, and our general plans for the club. Hopefully it gives you guys some ideas as well, and if you can get involved in the comments and let me know what you're planning on Sorare at the minute, then that'll be awesome, and we can create a nice little community, I guess, where we keep each other updated. But we've got a lot to get through. I've made a ton of purchases on the Sorare platform recently. A lot of my players have gone down in value. There's been a bit of a price crash, I'd call it in Sorare terms, but I'm kind of reshifting my focus on how I want to play Sorare, and we're going to get into all of that in a second. But first, I'd ask you guys, if you do enjoy the video, to smash the like button for us. That will help share it to as many people as possible, let YouTube know that people enjoy the content, and hopefully more people will see it, which in turn will help us with getting towards our milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Now, if you're watching and you've watched a few videos before, or you just enjoy Sorare content and you haven't clicked that button, then I'd massively appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. And finally, if you aren't yet playing Sorare but you plan to, then click the link in the description that will take you straight to Sorare. You can sign up, and what that does is obviously it supports me by using my link. If you use this link and then go and buy 5 cards from a new card auctions market, you'll get given a new card for completely free. So there we go, we've covered all the stuff that I want to cover, and now let's get in to all of my newest Sorare investments. But I think first we should cover it by saying what my kind of change of strategy is going to be, and also how I'm viewing the platform at the minute. So you'll see recently I've purchased a ton of limited cards, none of which are necessarily guaranteed first team players or great scorers. What I'm trying to do with Sorare has kind of changed, and it's all been informed by a few different factors. The first one being the price crash that's happened in Sorare recently. It seems that a lot of cards valuations have dropped. Obviously this happens a lot in Sorare. They'll go back up, they'll go back down. It's the way that things tend to go, and I think the influx of Premier League cards and new players have kind of affected that. But I do think as a whole the platform is going in the right direction. It's just in terms of card prices, yes, they've taken a little bit of a hit. But for me, the thing I love about Sorare is entering my lineups and hopefully winning some rewards. It gives me an extra incentive to keep an eye on the Wolfsburg games and whatnot. So I really enjoy that aspect of Sorare, and that's not going to change. I've still got my same teams that I've been building, my under-23 team in Limited, Champion Europe, Challenger Europe. I've still got all of those teams, but from now, unless it's like a top-up player that I might need, say a striker gets injured and there's a new Wolfsburg striker, maybe I'll buy him. But for now, I'm not really focusing on buying any new players to actually play with. Instead, my focus is now shifting towards investments, and that is mainly because when I see the price crashes and whatnot, I do think, you know what, wouldn't it just be nice to be holding cards just for the sake of holding them and selling them when their price rises, as opposed to what I have now, where one of my players plays really well and their price goes up and I just have to kind of sit there watching it thinking, I need him for my team next week. Whereas with these investment players, they can be very liquid, very volatile, and I can kind of move people on as and when I see fit. And also, it has that extra sense of it that I have to use my own eye and my own knowledge to try and find some good investments. And I think we've done a very good job. Now, bear in mind, we did have that price crash, so that has affected things a little bit. But what I've tried to do is purchase some players where I think their value might go up in the future. And I've actually got a spreadsheet where I've set a limit as to what value I'm then going to sell these players on for, in the hopes of waiting however long it takes for that value to tick over that amount. If I can make a profit on the card, I'll then sell them and reinvest that. And I've had a great bit of success with that recently. Now, all of these cards I bought 20 days or so ago, so let's go through them one by one. I mean, I covered a lot of these potential investments in a video recently, but in terms of who I've picked up, firstly, Nat Phillips for about £3. I think this is a pretty decent investment. I don't think he'll stay at Liverpool forever. He'll move somewhere else, get first team football, and that valuation of £3 is bound to go up, particularly if he joins, say, a high-level championship team or something. Some of these I've got loads of detailed research behind. Some of them, it's a gut feeling, and I just feel like Nat Phillips here will be worth more than £3 in the future. My next one is Burak Ince of Armenia Bielefeld, where he's got no game time whatsoever, but only a year or so ago he was deemed one of the best young midfield players in Football Manager, which is a game that I play, and often gets players' potential right. So I thought, you know what, putting a £2 investment in this card wouldn't be the end of the world. All he needs to do is play twice for Field in a row, and suddenly his valuation will be worth more than that £2. It's not going to be worth a crazy amount, but yes, I think he could be a good pick. The same with Yasser Asparilla. I'm planning for the future. Tino Livramento is an injured player who's also under 23. He was brilliant when he was playing for Southampton. When he comes back to the team, I'm hoping he'll do equally well, and this £10 investment will be a bargain. Tom Bischoff is an interesting one, a young 17-year-old German midfielder who occasionally gets football for Hoffenheim's first team. I bought him at £16. He's worth way less than that at the minute because he hasn't played recently. But as mentioned, all of these cards I've got a set value that I'm just going to wait and keep an eye on, and I'm not panicking at all. If his value goes down, that's fine. I'm happy for it to go up in the future. All he needs is a few more appearances and that will go up in the future. The good thing about these investments is none of them have cost me a crazy amount of money. So there's a lot less risk involved for me than if I was trading with rares, where I might be a little bit more heart in the mouth type situation. I didn't cover Jonas Wind because I bought him for my Wolfsburg team, and now of course he's no longer playing, which is great. But Vignato, another one that I've bought here, he didn't cost me much at all. I can't remember the exact value that we traded him for. It was similar to the price of Livramento, if I remember correctly. Edouard Mendy, now coming back to training for Chelsea. I picked him up for £30 and another version of him for £34 in the hope that when he becomes a regular first team goalkeeper somewhere again, whether that's with Chelsea or he moves on, that we'll see his price rise because he'll be earning more points. Axel Kai is an interesting one, an under 23 player. He's going to be that for years to come now, so I'm just kind of waiting for the point where he does get some first team football, a lot of hype around him, and he'll be worth more than £8.34 you'd hope if he's an under 23 forward playing in the MLS. Hugo Bueno, another one where I've brought a young player here who's got years left at under 23. I'm hoping his valuation will go up down the line. Similar situation for Elliot Anderson. Kaglo Soyuncu I bought because I'm expecting him to transfer. We've got Kelleher here, the Liverpool backup goalkeeper. We picked him up for £19 after one of your guys' suggestions in the comments very recently that they think he's going to move in the summer. I had a look around and a lot of Liverpool fans seem to think that Kelleher will be moving on to another Premier League side or someone of that level in the future. If that happens, he'll be worth more than that £19. I'm fairly certain of it. We've also had Reece Nelson, where we've got quite lucky. I bought him on the hopes that he'd get a transfer in the summer. I only paid £8 for him. Instead, he came back and scored that late winner for Arsenal recently, as well as an assist, and his price has pretty much doubled since then to about £16. So we could double our money there if we wanted to. And I think I likely will sell Reece Nelson, but there was one other, and you'll see we have some ETH in our balance because I have sold someone recently, and that was this Areola card, the West Ham goalkeeper who was injured at the time I bought him only literally 2 weeks ago. Then he got back into the first team. I bought him for £18. As soon as he's back in the first team, everyone goes crazy. Sold him for 44, which was a very nice profit. And one of the reasons I love investments is arguably with that profit that I've made on that card there, that's more than I've made through all of my Sorare teams winning rewards, because the rewards I've been winning recently are all tier 3s and pretty rubbish. Only Pedro has really helped my sides out when I got him because he is a forward playing in Champion Europe, but again, he's 34, he's not going to last for too long. So you could argue this investment method is the best way to go going forward, and it's what I'm going to start doing. So now I need to find some more picks, which I will do, and I'll let you know all about that in next month's video. I'll show who we go for, but my plan is just to be self-sufficient now, where from my sale of Areola, that's £40. I'll then use that £40 to invest into other players in the hopes of making that more and more and more. And we'll just keep building and building the club. And we might get lucky with someone like Reece Nelson, where we pay £8 for him. Maybe he'll now go on to start for Arsenal or something, and we'll have a great under 23 forward to use. Obviously, very unlikely that's how it goes. But when you're making investments like this, you can get fairly lucky. Now, as much as we've had an increase with Areola, as mentioned, Bischoff went down in value. Some others have as well. But we're waiting for our time to sell them. And I'm thinking this is going to be the way that I go forward on Sorare now. I'll have my teams, they can play, and then we've got these guys here who I can use as my investments to keep my Sorare club moving, and then hopefully when we get a nice amount, we can actually buy some players that I think can improve our club. And speaking of improving our club, I think we're pretty good in terms of our SO5 team. Unless we get very lucky one week, I don't think we're ever going to get that tier 1 star limited card. We'd have to get really lucky for that. Recently, we've just been hitting consistent tier 3s, which isn't terrible, but every now and then you get a dodgy day. For example, we had our under 23 side where our captain Durame scored in his game for Copenhagen, Seelevold scored, but now Kjaergaard isn't playing as much for his side, Pavlovic wasn't great defensively, and then I only have one under 23 goalkeeper. It was the team that Salzburg were playing against, and in goal for them was Nicholas Heidel. So if these guys did well, it meant our goalkeeper didn't get many points, so we were kind of screwed there from the off. Cap 270, we didn't do terribly, but again, a few players letting us down there. We've got a lot of bang average players, not many great ones. Challenger Europe was very annoying. We had 3 players play who all did really well, but then Jordy Classy didn't play, nor did Garginja. And some of these cards, it's me living with the effects I've spoke about before, where I bought cards from leagues I had no clue about. I don't know before a game week if Jordy Classy's picked up a hamstring injury, whereas if it's a Premier League team, there's a good chance I know about it. And that's why I always say play in the leagues that you know, and I learnt that the hard way here. All-Star, you can see we've kind of just messed up some of our picks. If we had certain players in other lineups, we would have done very well, but that's the beauty of Sorare, I suppose. All-Star Limited, no one doing amazingly well. And then Akumu didn't play. Wolfsburg were involved in a 2-2 match where Castiles didn't do very well, nor did Baku, and then Jonas Wind didn't even end up playing. To be honest, a lot of these are just throwaway lineups. I mainly have my 4 teams, under 23, Challenger Europe, All-Star and Champion Europe, and anyone left over can go into the other competitions. But you can see there's a lot of work for us to do here to get some good rewards. I need to plan it out much better next time where I'm doing my Sorare teams. I'm also not paying that much attention to the amateur competitions where maybe I should. There might be a good chance to win there. But I don't really swap my cards out every week. I just kind of plug and play, and it doesn't really work that way. You're never going to beat everyone doing that. I mean, look at how terrible my Premier League amateur side did there. I really didn't think that one through. James not playing. Pereira's not played yet, so we might do a little bit better. Overall, though, we've been doing pretty well. Every week or so, we're winning a tier 3 card. If you've been watching my YouTube shorts, that's where I reveal where we've won cards. But if we look at the ones that we've actually won, we had Sebastian Bernot, who doesn't play, this guy called Alvaro, who I believe was injured after we got him, Alex Bermejo here, a decent, actually, under 23 striker, who isn't going to be under 23 for very long. He scored recently, but that's about it. In terms of our other wins, we had, where is he, Pedro that came in, Yoshida, who's good but old, and Eric Martel, who gets decent scores, but nothing too special. He's a bang average player, to be honest. Only 20, which is good. But yes, you can see that our teams maybe just need to step it up a little bit. We get an unlucky here and there, but I do think there could be a good reward coming for us soon. And in terms of our investments, I think we're going the right way about them. If we can do more of what we did with Areola there, make some good sales, we can really improve my Sorare lineups. So I think going forward, I'm going to make some more investments, probably Premier League ones where I seem to know a little bit more about what's going on, even if I'm not an expert or anything like that. I just feel like I've got more of a chance here if we make the right calls with Premier League players. As we get closer towards the end of the season and some of my players now were no longer starting regularly and whatnot, it's going to be hard to win some good rewards, but you never know. But right now my focus is kind of keeping them teams. We'll mix and match players, but we've got the players that I want to play in those competitions, and otherwise we're just going to be making investments in the hopes of building up our club value and making some good calls. We'll be patient with it, but that's my plan going forward, kind of switching it to a road to glory method, if you will. What we'll use to improve the team will hopefully all come from our own investments in sales, and we can just keep building up our ETH balance and buying better players and hopefully building the club that way. I think that's the way I need to go about it. I absolutely love Sorare, but if you don't know my story, I basically got involved with it when it was probably at its highest peak at one point in terms of player prices. I spent a lot of money on rare cards that are now not worth much at all, to be perfectly honest with you, some of which got injured, and I just made stupid decisions in terms of going for players that I didn't really know all that much about instead of using my own knowledge. But I still have great fun with the platform. I'm very happy that I joined it. If you do have any investment recommendations of players that you think could go up in value soon, let me know in the comments down below. But there you go, that's been our March update on my Sorare club. Let me know your thoughts and what you're doing on Sorare currently. Smash the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.